you ready to discuss the Flash?
Yes, as always.
Have you seen any of the shitstorm today and yesterday on Twitter?
I don't know.
I'm going to take that as a no, because if you had seen, you would have known about it. So the film actually came out in a lot of places yesterday.
Oh, is that why there's Rotten Tomato stuff already?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you can see it someplace in the UK.
Right.
So I'm going to still try and keep... I've had a couple of very minor spoilers, but nothing that I wouldn't have kind of guessed or expected.
Have avoided everything.
But the main takeaways I've seen so far are a lot of people are trying to review bomb it on Rotten Tomatoes.
There's a surprise.
But it's still got 95%. Because I didn't know if this has always been a thing on Rotten Tomatoes, but you can have like a verified fan account as like you're like trusted.
Okay.
As in you've had account for a while, you've rated lots of films, they trust you as like a reviewer.
Right, okay.
So that one is at 95%. But the one that includes non-verified trusted accounts is down at like 73% the last I saw.
I think it's down to 69 now.
Okay. So like that's
nice.
a big difference. Which is interesting. So here's the thing, I get why people aren't happy. I just don't think review bombing actually is going to do anything. You can absolutely go, I enjoyed the film, but Ezra Miller's got to go. Ezra Miller needs to be punished for their crimes, etc.
Well, yeah, that's...
I don't think that's an outrageous thing to say.
No, I don't think it is.
What I will say is, there seems to be a lot of complaints about the CGI.
Yes.
Like, more than She-Hulk level of complaints about the CGI from what I've seen.
So the only things I've really seen on it was the Rotten Tomatoes thing, not realizing that was just review bombing, but also saw mixed reviews in the sense of like complaints about the visual effects and CGI, which I'm like, well, it's kind of just everyone's. We'll see sort of attitude, because look at, like you say, She-Hulk, Ant-Man, every superhero film's been getting, oh shit CGI, shit visual effects. So it's like, is it actually, or is it just that mid-level where it's like, it's okay?
Yeah. So based on the more detailed complaints I've seen, which do veer into spoiler territory, so I won't say too much, I think it might be genuine complaints.
Okay.
Based on what I've seen. Now, of course, there could still be people exaggerating slightly.
Yeah.
There is always that danger, but just like the way the complaints are written, it seems like it could be more legitimate. But the reason I think they're more legitimate as well is like some people are like, how can this film look this good in places and this shit in other places?
Well,
so I think there's a lack of consistency with the CGI as well, which will make the worst stuff look even worse.
And if that is the actual case, then that screams VFX Studios run out of time.
Yeah, which is crazy, bearing in mind this film has been in the works for literally 15 years, in one form or another.
Yeah. I wonder if maybe it's gone through so many cuts that when they actually got to a final cut and they had to do the final like polish pass, there just wasn't enough time.
Yeah. Or
like
maybe there was, as we know, there was a couple of different directors at different times. Maybe the last director wanted to add a scene which was going to be a lot of CGI that they just didn't have as much time to work on.
Yeah,
so maybe the stuff that looks really good was stuff that was in like the first draft of the script that they've been working on for 5 years. And the stuff that doesn't look as good as stuff they've only had a year or two to work on.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be this issue again where they're not respecting these VFX studios' time properly, and probably been putting them on crunch too much. And because of that, like we saw with Marvel's issue of Black Panther got all the focus from the design studios instead of Ant-Man. In this one, it might have been, oh, these scenes, for whatever reason, got focused first, and then it's meant the other ones, or like smaller studios got given some scenes and they haven't produced it quick enough. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's not good luck, though.
My hot take is let us just get animated films for like a while. Make it so like live action films are like special. Just give me Spider-Verse style films for the rest of my life. I'm actually over live action.
Give me live action, but let the VFX studios have as long as an animation studio would have. Yeah. Then we have no problems, because then they would produce just as good work.
Yeah. It's almost like kind of, I know we don't normally talk a lot about video games. It's kind of what we're seeing with video games of just let people do good work no matter how long it takes.
Mm.
And I understand, yeah, there's money attached to these projects. Guess what? You are multi-billion-dollar companies. And this film will make you more money if it's good enough.
Yeah.
And also, if everyone was to just like, and we'll get into like schedule changes in a minute, but if you're kind of sat there and you go, oh, this film's going to take 5 years instead of 3, all of the wages and the technology, yeah, that will increase maybe 50 million of the budget. Say it's like a $200 million film, that's going to cost us an extra 50 million.
Yeah.
But you're less clogging up people. So there will be some people suffering from genuine superior fatigue, although I don't think that's a huge thing. They're going to make these films feel more special because they're less often.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be higher quality, which means people are going to go, oh, wait, these are really good. So, like, you add in that, it's the same reason now when a new Star Wars film is coming, even though that fan base is so divided with infighting and shit, it is still like a spectacle. People up and or all over the world turning up in full out cosplay, camping the night before to see the new Star Wars film. Because guess what? You don't get one that often.
Yeah.
And it's an experience. I mean, in my lifetime, in 23 years, there have been 5.
Yeah.
Like main, obviously, there's been Rogue One and Solo Story, but there's been 5 episodes of Star Wars that have actually come out in cinemas.
Yeah.
And even Disney's saying, we think that's a bit too fast. We should slow that down a little bit, which is what they're doing now.
Yeah, now they're just drip feeding us with shows to keep us going.
We get really high quality shows every once in a while, and then we get a big film, and then when that film comes out, you know people are going to be fighting to get tickets.
Mm.
I am still excited for The Flash.
I am still on the fence. And I worry that the more that's coming out about these VFX things, then that worries me more, unfortunately. But yeah,
I don't think I will consider this summer a 3 out of 3.
No.
But that is not because I think The Flash is going to be worse than I expected. I think that is because Guardians of the Galaxy and Spider-Verse were so much better than I could have expected.
It's just not going to reach that level, so you can't put it with them.
Yeah, I would feel dirty even if I do enjoy The Flash. Going, oh yeah, it was a 3 out of 3 summer, because there is no way it's going to be in the same bracket.
No, it's not.
Even with The Flash being my favorite character, there is no way.
And it's like, this goes back to the review bombing and being pointless, but it's like, as we've said many a times now on the run up to this film, in the story sense of things, doesn't mean anything now. And it's like, it just doesn't not even having that tie-in anymore immediately lowers the like it's just not going to hit the same, because the other two have such bigger parts to play than this one did.
The big thing I will say is the last 2 films we've had has proved that people are over end of the world stakes. They want character-based stakes. And while Flashpoint is very end of the world stakes, if it's told right, it is still a very individual level stakes fight, which could elevate the story. Because a lot of people who were very critical of it have still said the story is really well done, but the bad bits of CGI and like the weird bits of fluff, have like taken them out at the wrong moment. I get the impression from certain people that as bad as it sounds, another year of like thinning it out, filming what needs to be filmed, getting the CGI perfect, could have made this an all-timer.
Well, you say another year, but realistically, they should have. They've had plenty of time to get this right.
Yeah.
So, would another year really have helped?
Probably not. Probably not.